breaking news just before we went live was in relation to Man United. We had the update from a number of journalists. David Ornstein here confirming that Man United are now prioritizing Benjamin Sesko. This is the 22-year-old now preferred option for United, plus informal contact made with RB Leipzig. I never quite know what informal contact directly with the club means. That's always a weird one to me, but contact has been made. Slovenia International also remains a top target of Newcastle. Newcastle's pursuit continues. This is coupled, gentlemen, with Craig Hope stating that Newcastle believe that United will get him. Buratov has said that United are the destination that he wants. A few other updates as well. I think Ben Jacobs put out maybe the biggest and most comprehensive update, and he basically stated that United have sent out, his words were a secret delegation. Well, it's not a secret anymore, but a delegation out to Germany headed up by Christopher Bavale, who obviously knows RB Leipzig and the player very well. He's also now here, says Man United are, this is Ben Jacobs just now. He says Man United are pushing for Benjamin Sesko. Newcastle's serious fear of losing out. Club-to-club talks ongoing in Germany. And what's interesting is normally the club-to-club talks don't really start until the player has already made their mind up. So is there something in that? But Mo, to go to you first, United have already added Mbumo. They've added Cunha. It looks now like they may be getting Benjamin Sesko as well.
So it's a very good. I don't like Sesko, to be honest with you, but I think he will be okay with Man United. Was too creative behind him. The way you play, he's going to be a box striker. What I don't understand is that why Sesko rejected Newcastle to join Man United. What happened to Newcastle? Trafford, like all that, like Mbuemo is rejecting them. Everyone is rejecting them to choose different clubs. What happened to that project? What happened to PIF? It doesn't. And Isak wants to go. Livramento. Free Livramento, he wants to go to City. What happened to Newcastle? Like, and how are the Red Cartel and the big clubs are preventing Newcastle from actually competing? It looks like, to be honest with you, I'm now starting to believe that this is planned.
High five.
All of this is
High
planned.
Five, Sam. High five. Red
like
Cartel.
all of this is planned. It's planned to prevent
Funny more
Newcastle
because I told
from.
you this before any transfer happened at the start of the window.
What did you tell me? Okay.
Bro, here's the thing. You need to understand. Attraction.
Short, because I was talking short. Just tell me short, Hussam. I want to finish.
Short حسام حكيت كلمة واحدة يا أخي احترم حالك. إيه.
I agree.
Anyway, as I was saying, attraction doesn't change over just one summer, Mo. Attraction is it's a gradual. It's gradual.
So how are Newcastle being like hard, like being like ripped apart like this? Like all the
okay,
targets,
can I tell you the honest answer that you don't like?
Can you explain to me? Okay, hold on. I need you to answer one question. Maybe I don't understand. Sam, forget Terry. Terry's a Man United fan. Yes. Why would Sesko choose Man United over Newcastle? Give me a logical answer.
I'll tell you the honest answer.
Yes,
that please. No one will say on YouTube who isn't a Man United fan except me because I say it as it is. Because Man United are massive. That's why. Newcastle United are not more attractive than Manchester United because they qualified to the Champions League once. Just like when Klopp first joined and we qualified to the Champions League once, that doesn't make us more attractive than Manchester City, who had Pep Guardiola dominating. Attraction is gradual. It is built step by step. Only now, 10 years later, after Liverpool being to Champions League finals, winning the Premier League twice, winning the Champions League, can I genuinely say we're more attractive than everyone not called Manchester City? That's it. That's the honest answer. Attraction doesn't change like this. Oh my God, suddenly Newcastle qualified to the Champions League. They're in the Champions League now.
So trajectory. Well, I'm trying to understand. Wallahi, I don't have any opinion on this because I'm proven wrong in terms of like Man United. Logically speaking, Fabrizio said 2 days ago that Newcastle are ready to pay the fee, ready to pay the wage. They're just waiting for the green light. And Sesko's like, no, stay on the side. I'm waiting for Man United, the bigger club. Manchester United.
But when you talk about trajectories, that's very subjective.
I want to ask you.
Okay, can I tell you trajectory?
I want your opinion. Trajectory-wise, who's better trajectory?
Last time, okay, I'll tell you trajectory. Newcastle. You wanna know what I generally believe about Newcastle from a trajectory perspective, no banter.
Yes.
I think at the start of the window, if us three did an interview with Isak, he would have probably told you he wants to remain at Newcastle. You wanna know why Isak's leaving Newcastle? Amateur hour. Any honest Newcastle fan in the chat will agree with me right now. They have no sporting director. the direction of the football club is just absolutely, there's nothing stable happening at their football club right now. Eddie Howe and his brother are deciding transfers. They're not taking it seriously after qualifying to a Champions League. They have qualified to the Champions League on the final match day, and their first signing is Anthony Elanga. They have failed to land James Trafford, Joao Pedro, Liam Delap. I can go on and on with examples. Isak at their own football club rejected them. Sesko is about to reject them. There is so many. Mbuemo rejected them. So many examples. Cunha, so many examples. Yes, okay, they're doing the right thing in terms of looking at the right players, but they can't execute. Just like Liverpool 2-3 years ago. Remember when we were looking at Caicedo and looking at Lavia and looking at Bellingham and looking at Chouameni? We couldn't execute. The difference is now is instead of George Schmatka, we have Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, who are doing a fantastic job at speaking to players, at speaking to agents. And I think these little things, they make a difference.
So how can a club like Newcastle break into the top 5 then, the top 6?
By being there consistently, what Spurs did.
How can they do this if players if players are asking to leave and leave and leave and leave, and everyone doesn't want to join their club, and because bigger clubs are coming in?
Spurs did. You have to become a consistent Champions League club. Not do it once every 3 years, twice every 3 years, whatever. You have to be there consistently. People think winning the Carabao Cup does anything for Newcastle and how attractive they are. No, it doesn't. Like, winning the Carabao Cup won't change Newcastle's life. I'm talking about Newcastle United now for these next 4 or 5 years need to establish themselves as a stable Champions League club.
But how can they do this if they can't get the players they need?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they need to raise their floor. Me and you have had this conversation before.
And this is the thing.
The problem with Newcastle is not Isak and Bruno Gomes. The problem with Newcastle is Joe Willock, all these players. You have to raise where your floor is.
Let me jump in here for a minute as well and answer this. I'm not going to answer this solely from a Man United perspective, but there's an element of it in there. Part of the reason people are confused. Now, United have still got to get this deal over the line, but I'll keep it 100. Too many top journalists in the past hour have all tweeted a variation of United are prioritizing it. The player wants United. Newcastle are fearing things. There's normally, when you get that amount of people, there are some standout examples of where it goes the other way. Caicedo to Liverpool. Sorry to bring that up as an example. But normally when you get this amount of reporting from such varying sources, it normally ends in one way. It goes in that direction. The Man United perspective is this. Too many people bought into the media nonsense that because we had a bad season last year, a terrible season by any standard, let alone our own, we were finished. When we lost that Europa League final, the amount I've gotten bookmarked and they'll come out eventually. Well, the people are going to get schooled. United basically, this was the rhetoric by thousands of people online. And then you add the retweets up and the likes, you're talking millions. Thank God United are finally dead. Spurs have completely killed them. They've gone away. United are no longer attractive. No one's ever going to want to sign for them again. This rhetoric got pushed, and every time it was challenged, every time a logical rebuttal happened, it was just scoffed at and disregarded. It demonstrates a massive lack of understanding of the game. There are certain clubs, Man United are one of them. We've had a decade of not challenging for a league title, but we had even longer than that in the sort of 70s and in the 80s, and we were still the biggest club in England. Go and ask Graham Souness. Even when we were trash and weren't competing, what we did still made more headlines than people winning. There's just something about us. Bayern Munich, same in Germany, Real Madrid, Barcelona, etc. We're in that category. For the wider point on Newcastle, you look at all the teams that have been rejected for, those clubs are gargantuan. Chelsea are no comparison to Newcastle. It is Liverpool in terms of I saw their fans. Oh, listen, we're not only are you not getting Isak, we're going to get Ekatike as well. Can I compare the two clubs in terms of size and stature? One's Las Vegas, the lights I'm talking about. The other one is a flea having their fart competition. There's a difference in brightness there. One is huge, the other isn't. And the only way they get there is time. The one thing they don't have on their side, and I know they'll blame the Red Cartel, they'll blame PSR, but Man City and Chelsea, when they got their sugar daddy owners, when they got all that money, they both had a set period of time. Chelsea had over a decade. I think City had 4 or 5 years where they could spend anything. Now, if they could do that, they'd have landed these players because they would have just offered wages that none of us could compete with because their owners are just that much richer, as you boys so well know. So I don't even think this is, I mean, it is a bad summer, but the reason why I think this has happened is they've done bad due diligence. And I agree with what you guys said around about the 7th minute of the show. Amateur hour. Amateur hour, in the sense of they have no sporting director. And I don't know how many times I have to beat this drum that your sporting director at a football club, I believe now, it might not be 50-50 with your coach. At some clubs, it might be more in the sporting director's favor, but they're at least 40% of the importance of the way a club is run. Gone are the days of your Shankleys, gone are the days of your Fergies, gone are the days of the Wengers where the manager runs everything. I look at most clubs now and it's about a 50-50 split. No matter how good your coach is, no matter how good they are at managing your squad, if your sporting director isn't of a higher level, isn't got, their caliber isn't high, you're going to struggle. Newcastle don't have a sporting director. They're letting the manager do the work pick. I don't know who's doing the negotiations, and they're struggling. They're obviously using bad intermediaries. They're getting bad intel. And on top of that, it's how you know it's amateur hour. They're feeding nonsense into their journalists who are printing it. Their fans are backing it because they're like, well, Craig Hope and this person and that person, they know the club. The club's told them, we're all right, guys. And they're now lying to their fans. They've consistently lied to their fans this summer. No way. Don't even worry about Isak going. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's all a lie. You look at the whole thing. That also won't help their cause. Sesko's probably sitting there and thinking, everyone else has rejected them.
Yep.
United have had rejections too. No sporting director. I get why he's picking us. And equally, you give us Mbeumo, you give us Cunha, you give us Sesko, we can finish above Newcastle next year. I'm not even worried about it. If we had those three players last year, we'd have finished in and around the same amount of points as them. So, yeah, look, I don't even mean this as a dig at Newcastle because that's not really the way I'm looking at this. Let's get it over the line. I really like this signing. He isn't as good as Ekatike's and Yokerez's, who I wanted ahead of him. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he is. That being said, he is a massive improvement on what we've got, and he's got development to be done. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. It would complete our summer transfer window in terms of the attack. I think it gives us 40 plus more goals in the league next year, the group together. It got a very high ceiling, like I've mentioned. And Staffy's happy because Staffy thinks he's a baby Zlatan. So Staffy can't be complaining about this one. And yeah, overall, I'm really happy with it. Commiserations to Newcastle if Man United are able to pull this off. But by and large, yeah, I'm very, very happy.